Today, we're going to talk about protecting your information from hackers. When you think of hackers, you probably think of something like this.
We do not trust your corrupt organization to carry out justice, so we will be exposing your many crimes.
Well, that kind of hacking does exist, but most hacking that is done is simply an attempt to get your personal information. One of the most important pieces of information you have is your username and password. Someone who has your username and password can gain access to lots more of your information. Now, we've all been told to never tell anyone your username and password, so how do hackers get it? Well, this normally happens one of two ways. The first way is a breach. A breach is when a hacker gains access to a company's system and can download all the usernames and passwords of people with accounts in that system. Now, you might think, what can I do to prevent that type of hacking since I have nothing to do with that breach? Well, the best thing you can do is to make sure that you use a secure password and username that only you would know, and you try to use as many different usernames and passwords as you can on all different websites and not use the same one for all sites. Now, the other way a hacker gets your username and password is you simply give it to them. The problem is they're pretty tricky about it. They literally use a tactic called phishing. Notice the PH at the beginning of phishing instead of the F. The PH actually stands for phony. So phishing is a way to use phony websites, emails, text messages that look like the real thing to try to gather your information. So if you get a text message or an email that says it's from TikTok and they tell you there's a problem with your account and you need to change your password right away, they give you a link. You click on the link, it takes you to a website. The website kind of looks like TikTok, and you enter in your name and maybe your password and hit submit to try to fix that problem. And next thing you know, you've just given some hacker your username and password, which again, they're going to use to try to get into and gain access to a bunch of different websites. So there's a few things you can do to try to detect phishing attempts. So hackers are going to try to make things look as real as they possibly can because they want to put the bait out there just like you would use a rubber worm at the end of a hook to try to trick fish into thinking it's a real worm. They're going to send out fake websites or phony websites and try to get you to think it's the real thing and take the bait.
I sense no danger here. How could they be dangerous? They're covered with free cheese!
So you need to be cautious when going through and looking at these sites, looking for a couple specific things.
Beware the hooks!
Number one, almost no company is going to contact you and tell you that there's a problem with your account. They're not going to ask for your email or ask you to click links to download. It just doesn't happen. They know that this is a problem, and because of that, they personally do not contact people this way. So they may tell you there's a problem with your account and simply ask you to log in the way you normally would for a message, but they're not going to ask you to click on a link in an email or to download this file or something in order to be able to make changes. I could simply go to that website the way I normally would and log in and look for messages or pop-ups or things that would show that there's a problem with my account, but don't trust things that I receive in an email or text message. The second thing you can do is look closer at the message. Some phishing attempts are not very good, and you could tell that they look fake. Other ones look pretty real, but you can look for things like where maybe the logo looks slightly off, or maybe there's some spelling errors in it, or if you click on the email address at the top, even though it might say the name of the company, when you click on the name of it, it will show you the exact email address that comes out, looks something like this, and that email is the exact person who's contacting you. So if that looks weird or strange or isn't from apple.com or something you would expect, then chances are that is a fake message. Now, what do you do if you get a fake message? You can report them if you want to, but again, phishing attempts are almost impossible for companies to stop because there are so many of them out there, and a lot of them use automatic software to create them. So the best thing to do is to simply delete it or ignore it and move on.
Let it go, let it go.
So why do they do it? Well, emails and text messages are free, and so it costs them nothing to send out information. So all they have to have is an email address to be able to send out these spam or phishing attempts. And when you receive them, all they need is a couple people to click on them for it to work. And if those people click, then they can gather their information, and it's made it worthwhile for them to do. Now, how do they get these email addresses? Same way we talked about before. Things like breaches, where they gather a whole list of email addresses. Maybe they buy one online where they gather a whole list of emails that they're going to send these phishing attempts to. Or it could be from you traveling or visiting unsecure websites. So if you've ever been to a website where they tell you to click here to download a movie for free, just enter your email address, or hey, take this survey to see which Harry Potter house you belong in, or maybe some random app that you download off the internet that allows you to change your face into a cartoon. If these types of things ask for your email address, chances are, if they're not from a reliable source that you've heard of before, or if the app doesn't maybe get good reviews, you need to do your homework to make sure that these are reliable sources. If not, they're probably after your information, which again, might simply be an email address because they're going to send you phishing attempts to try to gather more information from you at the same time. The same is also true with Airdrop. Anytime someone wants to airdrop something to your device, you control whether or not you accept it or not. If you don't know the person or don't know what the item is, you can deny it. And while you may not be able to stop things like phishing attempts or airdrops from happening, you control what happens on your device. You're the one who decides whether you want to accept that airdrop, or whether you want to click on that link, or whether or not you want to visit that website. Making good decisions will help protect your device and your information from falling in the wrong hands.